Let's be proud and let's have these standards, and I think we'll still track the development. We're on a roll. Okay, getting to our next topic, on a roll. Do trains roll? I don't know, the wheels? I don't LRT. LRT, you mentioned a moratorium in our last discussion, that famous word. And how does it apply now to this one?
Right, so Councillor Sam Marula has put forth that he will be propositioning his council colleagues so that everybody can just stop talking about LRT, at least to be able to get through the Ontario election. There is, like any issue we debate here, a couple sides to this, but Sam has a good point that it doesn't much matter what it is that council's deciding until we know what a provincial contribution is. It would appear that that would be very different depending on who is in government. You know, Kathleen Wynne has been pretty wishy-washy. Tim doesn't seem to be, Tim Hudak, that is, making any interest in LRT for Hamilton.
You said 100% no. It would be the mid-pen.
Right, the mid-pen and possibly BRT and other stuff.
Right.
And Andrea for the NDP seems to think LRT is a great idea for us. So Sam
hasn't
does
come up with a payment option.
No,
for it, so
but that's the NDP way, right? We spend, we figure out how to pay later. It's an interesting notion that it doesn't much matter what it is that council wants until we know who's paying the bill. However, I think Sam could be setting a very dangerous precedent here, and that precedent could be, after we get past the provincial election, maybe we can just put this off until we've got a new council, and let's them figure out too, so we can take it away from these guys and let it be an election issue moving forward. I don't like the notion of passing the buck, but there's absolutely something that makes sense with what Sam is doing.
So the idea that there's no point in wasting any more precious council time when there's other things to discuss by going around in circles around LRT makes sense. Whether or not a councillor can move for a moratorium on a particular issue, you know, freedom of speech and representative democracy and all that jazz, I'm not sure that you can kind of do even a voluntarily imposed gag order on a group of politicians. In the spirit of it, I think Sam is making a strong point, which is, why do we keep going over this? And if you listened, as I listened to the entire debate and the entire presentation on the BRT by the person who went to council last week, he brought a lot of good points up, and so then council was kind of thrown into this other set of facts and discussion on the merits of BRT vis-a-vis LRT. So it went on for hours, because I was waiting for an agenda item, and it went hours. So I understand, I'm sympathetic with Sam Marula saying, please, can we just not talk about this till June 12th until we know something else? I just hope this is more of a symbolic measure to make his point, because the precedent it sets not only is now we can leapfrog tough issues, kick the can down the road to the next election so we don't have to make any big decisions before October, but it also sets another precedent, which is every time that a topic seems to be annoying to a councillor, like Tom Jackson said he was exhausted with all the talk of bike lanes and two-way street conversions, can he put forward a moratorium? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, I hope it's in spirit, make the point, move on, but I don't think we want to get into the process of deciding what we can speak about.
Sure, and I don't think Sam's motion would be a gag order. I would think it would be that council's official position can't change and is in a timeout until we get there.
Sure.
But it's starting to become like a real farce at this point, with different councillors feeling different ways.
And I haven't seen Sam's wording on his motion, so in fact that may be what the wording is.
Right. I
just brought up gag order as a way of describing it, because with the media, right, it's not going to have any impact on the media. You know, Scott Thompson does an afternoon a week on this topic.
And as you have
it's never going to stop.
A couple councillors whose primary tenets of their campaign involve LRT, you're not going to get them to stop talking.
What a perfect segue to our next segment, which is the election mashup, talking about the tactics and strategies this time. Because really there's been no new entries to the race in the last week, except the confirmation, I was told, that Jamie